Hi, this is Ishinu for Life, and today I'd like to take a look at Sanchin Kata. Soke Tatsuo Shumabuku included Sanchin as an integral and critical part of his Ishinu karate system. The goal is to unify mind, body, and spirit to maximize an efficient and effective flow of power. Today I'll execute Sanchin a number of times, and along the way I'll review some key points about the kata, such as stance, pelvic lift, breathing, and technique. There are many interpretations and representations of Sanchin Kata. I'll execute how I learned and how I practiced for the last 40 years. So let's get going. When addressing any kata, it's best to begin at the bottom with the stance, work our way up and out. Now the Sanchin stance works well with the Ishinu karate system. Our stances are not too wide and they're not too deep. So we can begin with a ready stance, feet shoulder width apart, and my feet are pointed straight ahead. Now the outside edge of my feet determine what straight is. So it kind of gives my feet a slight pigeon-toed look. To initiate the Sanchin stance, I want to do a circle step, plant my toe, push my heel out, press my foot flat, and my front foot's pointed inward at about 45 degrees. I bend my knees, and then I want to attend to each toe, and then back to my heels and feel like I'm drawing my heels together. My knees are bent. I have 50-50 weight distribution, side to side and front to back. I'm centered along my vertical axis and my horizontal axis, which intersect in my tanden. This is my Seisan stance. So let's do another kata, and then we'll talk about another important aspect, which is a pelvic lift. So after I set my stance, the next mechanical sequence is to lift my pelvis. And there are a number of muscles that interact whenever I lift my pelvis here. And I'm trying to reinforce the connection between my upper body and my lower body. So when I lift this pelvis, one of the first things I want to do is firm up my pelvic floor. Now the pelvic floor is a group of muscles in my lower pelvis, kind of like a hammock to support that lower pelvis area. And the way I tighten up that pelvic floor is by a unique process of tightening my anal sphincter muscle. Tasuo Shimabuku illustrated this to my sensei by taking a pencil and inserting it in his fist and gripping it, and thus indicated how squeezing the anal sphincter can firm up the pelvic floor. So I lift and I squeeze. At the same time, my lower abdominals begin to contract, and my transverse abdominals come into play. They wrap around my waist like a corset, and the muscles surrounding my lower lumbar region also interact. When I lift the pelvis, I want to eliminate this bend in my curve in my lower lumbar region. All this action helps solidify and reinforce my pelvic, hip, and lower torso area. Another thing that I can do is feel like I'm turning the inside of my thighs, my inner thighs, outward. Okay? Use the seam of your pants, think about turning that outward. So I have this smooth coordinated motion of lifting the pelvis, squeezing my sphincter, tightening the transverse abdominals, the lower lumbar, and turning the inside of the thighs outward. And remember, we're feeling like we're pulling our heels together. So this really locks in this region. Let's do another kata and we'll talk about breathing. Now, all this action is facilitated by my breathing. Of course, breathing is a natural process, but in Sanchin, it's also a controlled process. And I want to bring attention to my diaphragm. Okay, a diaphragm is a thin sheet of muscle that separates my thoracic cavity from my abdominal cavity. And it facilitates the breathing process. When I inhale, the diaphragm descends, allowing me to fill up with air. When I exhale, it rises to help expel the air out my mouth. So this action, inhaling and exhaling, is assisted by various muscle groups. Again, the pelvic floor, the transverse abs, also the intercostal muscles of the ribs, and those muscles surrounding my lower lumbar region. They act as a container and interact with the rise and fall of the diaphragm. So I want to be conscious of those muscles as I inhale. Use the tip of your tongue to touch the roof of your mouth, which will direct the air in your nose and down. I can feel pressure on these muscles as I inhale, and then I squeeze to exhale. And generally, when I inhale, I relax. When I exhale, I tighten. Okay? So this natural process, I assist and perhaps exaggerate by these muscles that are supporting the diaphragm. Okay? I will say that when I'm breathing and I audibilize my breath, that's so an instructor can help determine if you have the proper distribution of air as you're executing your technique. And it's even a reminder to ourselves as well. So let's do another kata, and then we'll talk about some of the big muscle groups that help with the execution of our hand techniques. Now once I set my stance and lift my pelvis and activate these muscle groups when the pelvis lifts, that locks in my lower half of my body. I can kind of forget about that. Okay? Any firmness is maintained by my stance and my form. Now I can direct my attentions upwards. So this initial double block activates the muscles of my upper torso. Inhaling. Now as I pull my hands apart, my elbows in, my weight drops, and I get torque tension and compression here. Feeling the muscles of the upper torso activate. I want to feel like I have a big heavy log, like I'm cradling a big heavy log, and I need all those big muscles to help support that weight. Now, when I initiate a punch, simply retract the hand to the shoulder, pull the elbow back, keeping the shoulder down, and now I'm in position to extend my hand. Pull the fist back, rotate the elbow back, shoulder down. Now I can direct my flow of power in my punch. Now, I want to fully extend my hand to its stop limit, okay, and then twist my fist over to complete my punch. I don't twist until I'm on the target. As I extend, let this hand, other hand, drift over. When I reach my limit, then both together turn and twist and torque, locking out this punching position. Now, an important consideration is to have a degree of relaxation here because I need to be relaxed in order to move. I'm trying to direct my flow of power. I can't be too tight here. So with the shoulder and the back, I have a degree of relaxation, and then I can gradually lock in. Okay? Think of your hand and arm as one piece up to your elbow, and then keep your elbow pointed down as you twist over. Okay, let's do another kata, and then we'll look at some of the other hand techniques which generally operate in the same manner. Now on this next series of hand techniques, inhaling, drawing a breath, pulling the elbows back, the hands are set at the hips. Okay? Extend the fingers, and I'm going to do a two-hand thrust. Exhaling and thrusting. I can get some torque at the end of this by turning my thumbs outward. Okay? And I get kind of a rocking chair motion with this two-hand thrust in that keeping the shoulders down, not extending too far. Remember, I want to stay contained and connected with my big muscle groups. This is a big part of the Sanchin practice. We have a saying in my sensei often mentioned, big muscles move first, small muscles catch up fast. So it's important to maintain those connections. Once I finish this thrust, flip my hands over, pull down and apart. From the elbows, down and apart. Feel this in the trap here. Feel it in your lat muscles, abdominals, everything's pulling down and apart. Right? So I don't want to just use my hands, okay, and I don't want my elbows coming out too far. It's a nice, controlled, smooth motion. The next series is if I step back with my right foot, I want to put my right arm on top of my left. Okay? I do a upper block with the back of my hand, a lower block with the palm of my hand. So they're working together. Continue the circle going, keep the elbows in, pull the elbows back, and retract the hands to your body. I'm up here by my pectorals and at my waist. So from here, I extend. I get my hands flat, and I keep them equidistant apart through this whole motion. Don't get smaller. Inhale, exhale. The last motion, I get the opportunity to exhale all of my air, okay, in 3 separate exhalations, and I tighten the entire body. So I'm a Subadachi, exhale once, continue without an inhalation, exhale, one more time, exhaling, tightening, tensing, twerking. It's like putting on a suit of armor, okay? Every part of my body is protected. I can absorb blows anywhere if I'm set upon. Okay, so this is the one time where I get to exhale all my air. Generally, I'm exhaling 90%, keeping 10% for myself. Okay, let's do one more kata, being conscious, aware, trying to put it all together with a nice big muscles, small muscles, coordinated breathing, flow of power. Okay, let me add just a couple of things. One is with the Sanchin stance, okay? This is not an immovable stance. In fact, it's pretty easy to move somebody out of this stance. Okay? But the idea is, if you are moved, that you're going to maintain your posture, your firmness. You're not going to be knocked back or out of balance. I'm locked in, I'm condensed, and I'm solid through here. The other is I want to develop a flow of power. So it's very much relax and focus. That's one of the reasons I audibilize my breathing, so my instructor can see the equitable distribution of air in the various techniques, watching when I'm relaxed and watching me coordinate to where I'm tight, where my whole body is focused. Sanchin plays a role in all of our kata and all of our karate. Take Sanchin Kata, for instance. In Sanchin Kata, we block and punch. And we can do that simultaneously, and we can do it fast. Bringing all of our forces together. More effective technique. Okay? The mind tells the body what to do, the body executes disciplined technique, and the spirit propels us forward. So, although it's often said Sanchin is a 20-year kata, if you have the correct form, if you follow the proper sequencing, if you incorporate the proper breathing and think about the big muscles coordinating to help direct your flow of power, you will benefit no matter how long you practice Sanchin Kata. So, with that, I want to thank you for tuning in. Continue to learn, practice, and improve. Ishinru for life.